It's getting cold, isn't it? Especially this time of year. Nights are getting longer. The gas prices are going up. And it's just cold. But there's a few things you can do to help stop it being as cold. I've lived in quite a few houses where there's been no heating. There's a few things you can do that might help you, and I'm going to list them in this video. Thanks for watching. A lot of people online say, oh, get this plant pot, turn it upside down, stick a candle under it. I don't know if that works, just end up with a hot plant pot. I think better things to do are things like changing your energy supplier. So you can go on these price comparison websites like Compare the Market, Go Compare, Money Supermarket and so on. I feel like all the adverts for that kind of thing, it's a lot of jingles, a lot of noise, hard to really tell what they're selling. But if you go on the websites, you can put in your details and see if you can get cheaper. If you're on a prepayment meter, you'll be paying a lot more money. So it's always good to try and get off that prepayment meter beforehand. You can do this by calling your energy supplier and trying to sort that out. The rest of the stuff is more house-based, like what you can do in your own house. A big thing for this time of year is to go around and bleed your radiators. If you're renting and not sure how to do it, you could ask your landlord. But if for some reason you didn't want your landlord to come round, you could do it yourself. You'll need a radiator key and then go around from the nearest radiator to the boiler, upwards and around, ending at the last radiator nearest the boiler. That's the way to do it. You let out a little bit of air, go around with a towel, and a little bit of air let it out, and then you can, well, it's all balanced then, isn't it? All the system. You eliminate drafts, and you can do that by going around your house and seeing where it's drafty. A lot of the times heat rises and cold air falls, so it's quite good to go around to all the doors, especially if there's a gap underneath, and try and block it up. A lot of these around the kitchen. Otherwise you could get a roll of cloth, maybe even some clothes, and just stick it in front of the door. Main thing is trying to keep the drafts out. A lot of these houses in this country, they just aren't built for cold weather, they aren't built for hot weather, they're just built badly. So make sure there's no drafts there. You can also go around your windows and use some double-sided sticky tape and cling film to make a little pocket of air. It's like having double glazing, but just plastic. The next one, it's the usual advice of put a jumper on. Now, if you're quite cold, chances are you already have a jumper on, but I think layering clothes is really important. So it's better to have a lot of thin layers than just like one or two big layers. So don't just put a jumper on, put on 3 t-shirts and a shirt and a jumper, then a dressing gown over that. Obviously hats inside are good, as are gloves. Sometimes as well I might wear a lot of clothes on the top part of my body, but only wear jeans or whatever down. So it's good to wear sometimes pyjama bottoms, leggings, and then a pair of trousers. Sometimes though your house is just really cold and can't get any warmer, so I think it's good to sometimes just go out of the house, run around a little bit, go to a cafe, go to a library, maybe think about volunteering somewhere. But it's quite good to have people around. If you can't have people around your house for whatever reason, go to their house. get a dog, get a cat. I find body heat to be quite warming generally. Another big issue with a lot of these houses is that they tend to be quite damp. When it's cold and damp, it's a lot worse than when it's cold and dry. So how do you eliminate damp? Like, generally you have to open windows on a day that's not raining. But sometimes that's just, you're letting cold air in. But it's better to let cold air in and dry the room a bit, rather than just when it's moist all the time. Especially if you're going round and you can see your breath inside. That's not good. So try and circulate the air now and then. Even though insulation is important, you just don't want to be in like a pocket of warm, wet air either. Get those towels off the radiator. Don't have anything on top of the radiator. If you're drying clothes especially, have it nearby, have it adjacent. Make sure you don't have any furniture right up close to the radiators. Give it a bit of room. It's radiating heat. Another big thing about renting especially is if you live with housemates and they maybe have different views about heating. Sometimes, especially if you're out of the house, maybe working all day, they might be inside, or vice versa. So I think it's good to communicate with your housemates. Well, those are my main tips for keeping warm in winter. I think we'll be okay in the end. And remember, you can always talk to people. Talk to the people around you.